What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 24. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I just watched Urian Timber's twin brother, Quinten, who moved on from Ajax to Utrecht, uh, assist the game-winning goal against Ajax today. That's
That
kind of
happened.
ridiculous, right? That's
Yeah,
kind of
that
ridiculous.
that that happened. Like Ajax, like especially now that Ajax are a team in form.
Yeah.
That's a good stat to start the pod because
I
not a
mean,
lot of people know about those two players, and they're both ballers.
it's like twin brother Game of Thrones or something. It's pretty good stuff when you have that, especially with how hot Ajax has been. But anyway, how are you, Alex? Everything's going well?
Well, everything's going well, like especially seeing Felix balling
Yeah.
yesterday, but we'll
Yeah.
mention that more ahead.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to be saying that our first topic is a huge excitement for me. So I'm really happy, meaning that it's the top five center backs in the world. Who are they? Like, that's the big question, Breton. Who are they?
Yeah.
So, could you help me out here?
Oh, good God. I have to start. We did this the last time, right? Current versus peak form.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to go just straight top five, or do you want to start number five and move on
Yeah,
up?
let's go with a five. Let's go with
Okay.
the five.
All right. And I know you do like a blend of peak and current. I'm gonna just do all current form, and then at the end, I will give you from the top my peak form top five. But here we go. My fifth current form is Milan Skriniar of Inter Milan. Okay. And that's not even with him being the best in form for Inter so far this season, but we all expected a drop. We all expected a drop in form from Inter. And I remember you telling me when I was saying, Lukaku's gone, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. You said, no, no, no. Stefan De Vrij, Milan Skriniar, Alessandro
Mm-hmm.
Bastoni form are still there, and they
Mm-hmm.
form probably the best asset that Inter Milan has. And I've loved Skriniar since he's moved to Inter. It's taken him some time to get his feet in Serie A, but the last couple seasons, I don't think he's gotten enough credit for what he's done. He's so strong. He's making more of the right decisions these days. He made a couple goal line clearances earlier this season, especially I think
Yeah.
midweek. He made a big one, but his ability to read the game has gotten so much better. And the kid's only, I think he's 26, 25.
Mm-hmm.
So he forms kind of this triumvirate of Inter defenders. I'm very very excited about. But Skriniar is the cream of the crop, I'd say. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think like he's definitely one of the secret sauces at
Yeah,
Inter Milan for sure. I'd say the best player at Inter, in my opinion, is Nicolo Barella,
sure.
but
Sure. Well,
Skriniar is definitely one of the most important.
yeah,
So very good take in the top five, and I'm gonna say I snubbed him.
you
I
did.
snubbed him in my top five.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
my number five is a lot of Man United fans are gonna love this one, and it's Rafael Varane. Okay, my number five is Varane. I think the reasons why is he's very complete. Okay, I think a lot of people tend to focus on Sergio Ramos,
Mhm.
which it's fair because Ramos was a leader at Real Madrid, but Rafael Varane was crucial. And now at Man United, being a complete center back that he is, I expect a change in him. And he's going to be more of a leader. And I see him being a top five, no doubt, ahead of Sergio Ramos at PSG. I know he needs to come back from injury, but yeah, I can see it happening. So I
I
just finishing to that. All he needs to leave too for us to see Varane at the highest potential.
There it
Okay,
is.
it is true. Like I just wanted to end with that because truth is, Varane with Oli is very different of Varane with Zidane.
Yeah.
That is a fact. It's two different players. So yeah, I want Varane's years to be the best.
Yeah.
So there
Well,
you go.
and the good thing is he's not that old, right? And he's been through pretty
Hmm.
much. He's what we call right a grizzled vet. He's been through everything, and he's grown along the way. And he seeped all he could off of Sergio Ramos. And yeah, he's a complete player. And in peak form, he's actually number four for me. But he's not. He's
Hmm.
my snub. But I honestly believe he's going to grow current form wise to obviously be one of the leaders at Man United and continue to move forward. But you're right. Solskjaer and United seem like a team of individuals right now, or I shouldn't say team. I should say a collection of individuals that don't exactly act as a team currently. And,
it's this decision making too.
Yeah.
Britain. I'll be honest. We know, everybody knows that watches Man United, Lingard deserves more than 10 minutes in that Everton game.
Yeah.
Like, Lingard deserves to be the first sub because he's hot. He's in form.
Yeah.
And if you're benching Ronaldo, okay, put him in the second or third. Put Lingard that he's in form.
Yeah.
So
that Lingard,
you shouldn't even bench Ronaldo. Like that is I don't understand that. The best teams in the Premier League, who wins the Prem, plays with the best team the majority of times.
Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. I'm in complete agreement with you because you're like 10 games into the season and you're already doing the whole load management bull crap. I mean, come on, he's Cristiano Ronaldo, the guy does so much work in the offseason to get a 45-minute breather. I mean, you knew he was going to find the field. Just let him keep Everton at bay. And
sure.
that made no sense to me whatsoever. And that's like strike 2 in the last 2 weeks from Solskjaer on just simple things that I think all of us on the sideline go, I know I don't have a, top Euro license, but I'm pretty sure this is a crap call. Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it whatsoever.
And this is why Varane needs another manager to be really in the top 5 list.
Yeah. And so, I'll tell you what, we're getting off on it, but I agree with you too. Lingard, obviously Ronaldo wouldn't have had that chance on midweek, right? That late winner for Ronaldo. He wouldn't have had that chance if it weren't for Lingard kind of threading the needle and being able to toe poke it to him. And yeah, who knows, man? But Solskjaer is the problem. He is the problem, I think.
Well, there you go. You want me to go with my number 4 here in the center backs list? Because I went different here. I went in a deep thought here in the center backs list. And my number 4, I'm going to go bold. And it's Thiago Silva.
Wow.
Okay, he's 37 years old right now. But he's still my number 4 in the world right now.
Wow.
Because I'm seeing Chelsea, okay, and another player, Azpilicueta.
Yes.
Azpilicueta and Thiago Silva together, that is leadership and mentorship to every single player on the pitch, vocally, and how they should communicate. Because Chelsea, when the ball stops, Aspi and Thiago Silva are talking to everyone nonstop. So the routines, everything is going well. And this is the reason why Thomas Tuchel comes to Chelsea and everything changes. Yeah. But he has Thiago Silva. He's got Rudiger. Okay, he's got the experience to help him manage to have a proper defense, organized defense. So for that to happen, they needed Thiago Silva. So he's my number 4. And mine to say, he's one of the most underrated center backs in the history of football. Thiago Silva. Yeah. In my opinion, he is.
Yeah. It's hard to believe he's, what is he? He's 37 now?
37.
He's still up there. And I'd like to see him healthy more often, but clearly in the little bit he's played so far this year, he's been his normal quarterback self with that. And the funny thing is your pick of Silva is like a perfect segue into my number 4 pick. Because I agree with you. The leadership shown by Silva, the leadership, but that's not my pick.
Oh,
the leadership shown by Thiago Silva, the leadership shown by Aspi for Chelsea, it is absolutely vital to why I picked Antonio Rudiger as my number 4. I love a bull. I love a bull in the China shop type of approach, and that that is Antonio Rudiger in a nutshell. I mean, the guy, every loose ball is life or death to him, right? And I get it. He's sometimes overly aggressive, overly tenacious. But when you have Azpilicueta or you have a Thiago Silva there, we might be talking different if Rudiger was part of a different setup. But those types of covering, it allows Rudiger to play to his strengths. And those are his strengths, which is cleaning things up, right? And his form has carried. I just remember him in that Champions League run last year, right? He was, I wouldn't call him flawless, but you weren't going to get by him. And if you somehow did get by him, he was going to take you and probably your family down with him to get by. But like, he helped seal that Champions League title for Chelsea last year. And I think his form has carried over. And I really do believe that part of that back three, and I do have to give a little shout out to Christensen too, because I feel he's been a very solid player as well this season. But for sure, Tuchel has gotten the best out of Rudiger, and I think he's going to continue to. But here's the wrinkle. He likely is the top defender, or one of the top defenders, heading into a contract year, right? I mean, he is he's going to be one.
I was going to say that.
And he's my mention. Yeah, and he's been vocal about wanting to kind of stay at Chelsea, but he also doesn't necessarily feel as valued.
Madrid.
Yeah.
Madrid.
Yeah, or Bayern. You never know.
I get the feeling Madrid with Alaba, Rudiger.
Would be interesting.
That is a good center back duo.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Breton, like, it is very understandable you putting Rudiger at number 4. And yeah, I'm playing wise, I think he's better than Thiago Silva, but I think just the overall mentality wise, the impact he has on and off.
Yeah.
I put Thiago. But it's very good for Chelsea fans that we're having the talk of who's the best one. Yeah. And another thing we can mention, just to end it, it's Aspie with 7 million or 6 million.
Yeah.
That is the bargain of the century, okay? Yeah. So, yeah, organized defense at Chelsea. So, number 3, you want to go with your number 3 here?
Yeah, number 3. This was tough. This was tough for me. I am very happy to see him. This is the current form list, and I'm very happy to see him here. I think maybe it's a tad too high, a tad too early, but I don't think we can argue that where Virgil van Dijk is right now is a lot further ahead than anyone expected, right? Coming off the injury that he came off of. I think the biggest worry was, Liverpool would just rise to the top right away because he'd get right back to, first class, first rate, world class, playing. He's had his wrinkles. I mean, Ivan Toney did some things to the Liverpool defense, right? But no. But Virgil van Dijk is getting there, and not that he cares what my opinion is. I think by the end of the season, he will be number 1, because we know that when VVD gets in form, he stays in form generally, right? So I have him as number 3, and it's all pretty malleable with this. It was tough, so don't hurt me in the comments here. Be nice. Be nice.
I'll be honest. Like, I'm thinking here, Van Dijk was the big question for me for the number 1 spot, and you're putting number 3.
Yeah, I mean, peak form, Virgil van Dijk is number 1 in my opinion, and that we can fight to the death on.
I'll be honest, like, yeah, it's he's still getting back to form, and that was a match with Brentford that, yeah, it didn't go all to plan for Liverpool, but yeah, understandable. And two, like, it was an overall bad game, like, and it was very unlucky what happened. So, okay, so I'm gonna say my number 3, and my number 3, please, guys, it's not because of today. Stop, like, really. We're gonna talk about that afterwards. So, it's not because of today, and my center back is Marquinhos. Okay, the captain of this team, full of stars at PSG. Okay, Marquinhos for me is the best center back defending in duels in the world. You can't get past Marquinhos without. You have no chance right now. Okay, he's just really in form. And it's not just ground duels. It's aerial duels too. Marquinhos is very lethal in both areas, okay? And another thing that makes me put Marquinhos at the top 3, no doubt, is Marquinhos is for sure wanted by every single top team in the world, okay? Any team starts Marquinhos. Any team in the world. Okay, Marquinhos starts right now because of this that I said of duels and the ball playing ability.
Yeah,
it's impeccable. Okay, Marquinhos. That's why Marquinhos can play at CDM. Marquinhos' ball playing ability is impeccable,
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah,
he's in my
and
top.
consider his form was pretty damn pristine over the last few years, even with the glaring weaknesses you saw in PSG's defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those came from the fullbacks. But ultimately, with PSG, they went out and they've invested in that spot. We won't mention who, but they've invested in that spot, and now they all have to kind of come together. And obviously, that loss today to Stade Rennais. That's tough, but it's a long season, and something tells me we're gonna see him gel at some point. And frankly, when you have Messi, you have Neymar, and you have Mbappe running the show, you should be winning games 5-2, even if you let up 2 goals, not losing 2-0.
Yeah.
So that's a good shout. I don't have him in my top 5 current form, although he would be number 3 for me, peak form, Marquinhos, nestled in between somebody we're going to talk about in a little bit and Raphael Varane. But my number, actually, yeah, whoa, goodness, we're already on 2. Okay, he's got a big test moving ahead with Fiorentina, I think in a couple hours today. But my number 2 is Kalidou Koulibaly. Okay, and this, I think, was he a DM before he was moved back to center back? Previously?
I'm not sure. I'll be honest with Koulibaly. I only know him as a center back.
Yeah. So my number 2 is Koulibaly, and the biggest reason is because they've conceded 2 goals this season in Serie A. They've won all 6 games to start the season. I know they had maybe a little hiccup in European play, but I haven't seen anybody better than him currently. And everything you just said about Marquinhos, except maybe the distribution ability, is true about Koulibaly, right? He will, and he has elements of Rudiger in him, and he has elements of Marquinhos in him. And I just think that when we talk about Van Dijk and we talk about Ruben Diaz, there's an element of kind of reputational
clubs, no?
Like pushing, they get a little bit of a reputational bias because of the teams they play for, right? Napoli, because they started hot, has allowed all of us to kind of focus our lenses on Koulibaly and give him probably the pat on the back he's deserved for some time now. So I just think when we're talking about incredibly underrated players, he's one of them. And obviously, he was a big part of a transfer rumor season over the last 12 to 18 months. So it's not like, other scouts don't know about Koulibaly here. But he has been a very good center back for Napoli this season, and be interesting if you could have a Napoli Inter. Even Juventus is pepping up right now, but have a really crowded top of the table at Serie A. I think everybody would be here for that. And Koulibaly is going to be the reason they keep their defensive form. It's just whether or not Victor Osimhen can continue to put goals in the net. But Koulibaly's 2 for me.
Koulibaly, I'll be honest, I snubbed him in my top 5, but he's definitely a player that I feel like he's very underrated.
Yeah.
But I couldn't put him because I feel like Varane, Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, but Koulibaly, he's a baller for sure. One of the most underrated players in football. So my number 2 is actually the only player in this top 5, okay, that I feel was Ballon d'Or worthy in a season.
Whoa.
Okay? And that's Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
The season that Virgil van Dijk had at Liverpool was a Ballon d'Or worthy season. Okay? I haven't seen a center back having a season like that in recent history.
Yeah.
I know Sergio Ramos is he's a legend, one of the top center back legends, but he never had a Virgil van Dijk season like that, which nobody did a dribble past Van Dijk in a whole calendar year. Yeah. That is insane. Okay, so he's my number 2, and I'm gonna explain why when I tell my number 1. But there's a reason why he's the number 2, okay? So, and he's very complete, okay? He's coming back from injury, and I'm just gonna say he's the number 2 because the number 1 just isn't injury prone, okay? And that's the truth. That's Van Dijk. That one season, the last season, that he didn't play for Liverpool did cost a lot for Klopp.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to have Salah, Mane, you're not going to have all these players at top level for a lot of years. So 3 years, 1 year going is a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
So
there
you go.
Liverpool tried their best to replace Van Dijk in some capacity last year, and that just
debatable.
Yeah, they tried maybe. Should have tried maybe a little bit harder, but yeah, what they go
earlier?
Reece Williams, Nathaniel Phillips, Joe Gomez before he went down. I mean, just so many injuries last season.
They took too long, Bretson. They took too long.
Yeah, I'm with you. But Van Dijk in his prime, I can't get that out of his head, and that's why he's number one on my peak list. And you know what? Someone has to give just a small shout out to Joel Matip, because he's been pretty solid alongside him this year, and I think that's going to continue. I mean, I really do believe that we are headed for an amazing Premier League a fight for the title this year. You know, really like close. Not I'm going to run away the last 12 weeks of the year. I really do think it's going to come down to a couple points at the end of this season, and yeah.
Well, if Virgil van Dijk is Batman, Joel Matip is Robin. Okay, that duo is very nice together. He's not better, but he's really learning and improving with Van Dijk, and it's fantastic to see that players can improve in their old years. Okay, it's not just when they're young. He's not too old, but like he's not too young, so he is improving. So that's a really good mention there, Bretson.
It is
number one.
Well, I think you want to say it at the same time. I don't know. What do you want to do here? Should we sing Kumbaya?
Ruben Dias propaganda.
Yeah.
The propaganda.
I mean, the way I put it right now is this: he doesn't have to play his best to be the best in the world right now, and I think that kind of that might say it all for me, because you know better the qualities that make him the best, because you've watched him since he came up at Benfica. A whole lot, but like City's only we'll see what happens against Liverpool in a little bit, but City's only conceded 1 goal so far this season, and I think it was like 22 goals they've conceded in all of his games for City, Premier League games, in 38 or 39 of those games, and I think previous to that they conceded like 40 goals. So you're talking about like one man. I don't know if it's one man, but no. Ruben Dias is 18 goal difference, a 15% bettering or 50% bettering of your defense in 1 year. But it's also the fact that Pep saw this, because he's not 28, he's not 30, he's not 37 like Thiago Silva. This guy has so much ahead of him that it really does come back to me that he just does not need to play his best to be the best defender in the world right now. And I don't think we've seen his best yet this year.
Exactly. I agree with you. A lot. And even before he went to Man City, he had a Euro. He won a Euro. He won a Nations League for Portugal. So he was already, at 23, he was repping titles for Portugal at center back and being the best player in defense.
Yeah.
So how am I going to justify that Ruben Dias is my number one? Okay, first of all, after the injury of Virgil van Dijk, there was a period of time that nobody was touching close to Ruben Dias. Okay, nobody was touching close to Ruben Dias last season in the Premier League. And that's the reason why he won the Player of the Season. It was the first time a defender won the Premier League Player of the Season. Ruben Dias got it. Okay, so with that, if he's maintaining that level of being the best player of the season, I can't put him out.
Right.
Okay, so I'm waiting for the other lion, if that's Virgil van Dijk, to take him off. Okay, the throne, because right now Ruben Dias is number one, and I mind to say he was always a leader. Okay, and Ruben Dias comes to that Man City defense as a leader. One player did change the Man City defense. The most vocal player, the most aggressive player, and that one that leads by example. Ruben Dias at Man City, the best center back in the world.
And this is no disrespect to Benfica in any way, shape, or form, but the fact that he kind of seamlessly transitioned from you know, Liga Nos, or I'm sorry, Liga, what is it? Win Liga now?
B-win.
B-win. B-win. Oh, it's not win.
Oh.
Okay. From that to the Premier League, that seamlessly and right away ingrained his leadership qualities at a young age too. Brought it in there and just expected it of every one of his teammates, whether it was Cancelo or whether it was Aymeric Laporte or any one of these guys. He brought that defense together. That alone is just incredibly impressive. And to be honest, it's almost like moving Van Dijk from Southampton to Liverpool.
Exactly.
Same Premier League, but he did that. Such a jump in level that I'm just so impressed by that. So, all right, well, I'm going to round up my top 5. I picked, so this is my current top 5. So it was Milan Skriniar at 5. It was Antonio Rudiger at 4. Virgil van Dijk at 3. Kalidou Koulibaly at 2. And Ruben Diaz at 1.
Okay. And my 5 is Rafael Varane, number 5. Number 4, Thiago Silva. Number 3, Marquinhos. Number 2, Virgil van Dijk. And number 1, o rapaz, Ruben Dias.
There you go.
So there you go. Well, I'd like to mention the snubs, though.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of center-back snubs. So you got Christian Romero.
Yes.
Okay, which was the best player in Serie A last season.
Yep.
Then you have Lucas Hernandez. Like he's still a big center-back at Bayern. We got Jules Koundé, Sevilla. Yeah. That is another player that we didn't mention. Eder Militão.
Yep.
Real Madrid. So,
although I think Militao and Real Madrid just may have lost their second. I don't know. I didn't check the score yet, but they lost to Sheriff midweek. That was interesting. Yeah. But I got to throw one out there. And I honestly believe he should be on. For me, he's like number 5 on my peak form list. He's also probably right around number 5 on my current form list. I don't think he gets enough credit, and this is Jose Maria Jimenez for Atletico.
Ooh, yes.
I mean, he's a still young center back, 25. He's been there for. He is one of the keys to Simeone's defense. And Atleti has only shown us that they start with defense first when it comes down to it, and Jimenez has been absolutely vital to that, and he's been there a while now, right? He's been there long time.
Uruguayan players tend to be underrated, if you know, just like a lot of, even Valverde at Real Madrid. A player at Real Madrid is underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, that's Uruguayan. It's weird. I don't know why.
I thought you were gonna throw some Darwin Núñez propaganda.
No, I'm gonna talk about him later. So if there's any center back that you feel like we should have mentioned, please mention in the comment section down below. Like the video if you want more top 5 lists. Okay, so we know you really enjoy them. And so next topic.
Yeah, well, I can already envision the John Stones is golfing. That's all.
Harry Maguire. Oh, no, I'm joking.
We'll see. I mean, I don't mean to disrespect John Stones because he's always good too. It's just come on. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to disrespect Harry Maguire too, but it's just. So the next topic is I'm gonna call it a game. Okay, it's the first, and I think it's gonna be one of the best games that we're gonna have on the show because I wanted this to be reoccurring.
Sure.
Okay, and this is the start, bench, sell. We're gonna name 3 players, and we're gonna say who do we start, who do we bench, and who do we sell.
I feel like I'm on a game show.
Why do I think this is really good? Because if there's some player that we feel isn't mentioned enough, and we feel is better than a player that is very mentioned, we're gonna put him bench and not sell. Okay, so. It's a very good topic for you guys to listen to, and so you want to get it started?
Oh goodness, I feel like I'm on a game show. Except there's no prize. The only thing we're gonna get is absolute and utter hatred.
Well, we'll know the prize like in 5 years' time. Who's right? So
ooh, that's true.
I'm hyped about that.
All right, so let's start with one of the hardest ones, right? And I'm gonna pose it to you first. Because I want to send you into the arena before myself. And if you survive, maybe I'll step in too. We're going to do start, bench, sell with Vinicius, Ansu Fati, and Mason Greenwood.
Oh, that's really hard. Okay, I'll start.
Good
I'll
luck.
start.
Good luck.
I'll start. Okay, I'll start with who else. Yeah, I'll just say it. Okay, I'll start with Ansu Fati.
Ooh.
Why do I start with Ansu Fati? He's the youngest everything in the world right now.
That's
Okay,
true.
he's not the youngest because of Youssoufa Moukoko appearing in the Champions League, but everything else where Ansu Fati is. And honestly, Breton, I feel like getting the number 10 for Barcelona is going to be huge for Ansu Fati. And just seeing what his family, after he scored the goal, coming off the bench, and seeing the impact it has to his family, you can see this player, this is everything for him. Football is everything for Ansu Fati. So I'll start with him. I'm going to bench Mason Greenwood. Okay, why will I bench Mason Greenwood? Because I think Mason Greenwood, of the three, is a Ballon d'Or potential player too. Okay, and I think he's ahead of Vinicius a bit.
Wow.
Yeah, because I feel like the big problem I have with Vinicius, that is getting better this season, guys, okay, is the finishing. And that's the best thing with Greenwood, okay? The problem with Mason Greenwood is he's very selfish still playing. I notice it, okay? And that's good if he wants goals, but it can be bad if it's too much. So with experience and time, I feel like Mason Greenwood was going to be a Ballon d'Or worthy player if everything goes right. So I start with Fati, I bench with Mason Greenwood, and I sell with Vinicius.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, that was hard, man.
Yeah. Well, you ready for mine? Because
yeah, let's go.
it doesn't look like you got slaughtered yet in the arena. So I'm going to throw myself out there as the sacrificial lamb here. All right. I'm going to start. Oh, no. I'm going to start Vinicius.
Okay.
In my opinion, and maybe it's the lens that you and I look at things in, I always look at current form. Maybe that's a recency bias that needs to go away. That's probably why I'll never make it as like a scout or a coach. But I think the kid has turned a corner, and he's really just scraping this. It's weird to say after 90 plus games for Real Madrid that he's just scraping the surface of his talent. But I think we talked about it last week, the Ancelotti love and confidence and showing of really just trying to have him play to his strengths is working. And I think he's really clicking around Benzema, and he's got, Valverde, Cruz is back. He's got some really good support. So he's in the best place. And the funny thing is, you actually put it nicely. He's trying to fend off competition from somebody who's not even there yet. That's Kylian Mbappe, right?
Exactly.
He has won more take-ons, okay, from a percentage standpoint than Kylian Mbappe this season. Arguably against, and I don't think this is arguably, but against better competition, right? La Liga competition versus Liga own competition. And I think he's basically showing that it's time to put up or shut up, and he's ready to put up. And we'll see, because it's a long season. But that's why I start Vinicius. I'm going to bench Ansu Fati. Okay. Mainly because, yeah, you're right. Number 10, Barcelona, a little worried about injuries. Obviously has an immense future ahead, but hey, come on. I want somebody that's really doing it right now versus somebody that was doing it last season that's got to make his way back to form. He's young, which comes with great potential, but also maybe too much responsibility for number 10. I mean, Emile Smith-Rowe has the 10 right now, and it hasn't exactly lit a fire under his butt. He's been good, but not number 10 worthy. Okay, and sell Mason Greenwood for me. And you already hit on it.
That's bold.
I know it is, and I hate to do this a couple days after his birthday. And I'm sure he's like watching this, and he's like, I'm gonna hurt this person. No, he's not watching this, but certainly capable. As an individual of winning a game, of doing just amazing things on the field. Obviously, we're taking three phenomenal players and just making drama where there is no drama. But if I were him, I'd be attaching myself to the hip of Cristiano, who is like the number one selfish team player that I can think of. You need a degree of selfishness when you play football, right? But the amount of times that I've seen him force a shot this season when Bruno's trailing or Ronaldo is even wide open, right? You could argue in an offside position, whatever. He fits a team of individuals right now, but he doesn't fit a team. And there's a little bit of a difference there. And he's only 20, so he's probably going to grow into it. But as of right now, based on taking these three, I would sell Mason Greenwood, and I'd sell him for a nice chunk of change and invested on extending Ansu Fati's contract. There you go.
That was a good start bench sell to start. So I'm going to mention the three players for the second one, and De Ligt, okay, Bastoni, and Upamecano.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want me to start here?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to start the one that for me I've seen the best, okay, and it's the player. I've said he's the one of the only generational talents, in my opinion, in form at a young age, at 22, at De Ligt. I start De Ligt. If I have a chance, I start De Ligt. Any team, okay? I really like De Ligt a lot because it's the type of player, you've seen him since he's started at Ajax, being a captain, a leader, and now he's having a tough time at Juventus, but I do know that he'll be worthy of a start in the future because he'll come back stronger. I will bench Upamecano because right now Upamecano is the best center back at Bayern. Okay, he's playing better than Sula and Lucas Hernandez. It's clear. He's very dominant. He's fitting very well with Julian Nagelsmann at the same time at Bayern. So I do think long term, but we did the top 5 center backs. We might be mentioning Upamecano in 2-3 years. Yeah. So I'll put him for bench. Sell. It's hard for me to say Bastoni sell because Bastoni for me is my favorite center back at Serie A. Okay? And I know it's hard for you to believe if I'm actually selling him, but that just shows how good Upamecano and De Ligt are, in my opinion. Yeah. But Bastoni is the best center back passing, of these three. He's better than De Ligt and Upamecano passing. He's a different class. The vision, the awareness, he's a much better player. So I start De Ligt, bench Upamecano, sell Bastoni.
That is tough. It is very tough. I actually disagree. I mean, I disagree all across the board with everything you just. Okay. Kidding. Now there are elements of truth. I agree. Bastoni is the best passer, for sure. I also agree or disagree. I love De Ligt's verve, his excitement, his influence. Right. I think he's a little bit overshadowed right now at Juventus. He's starting to kind of come out of that shadow, and I don't know, but we haven't seen his true form for a long period of time yet at Juventus. True. Okay. So you might see where I might be going with this.
I see it.
I think that Dayot Upamecano is a freak of nature. Okay. And I think if you want a guy on the field that can do it all for the most part, you have to start him. Okay. So Upamecano is my number one. My number two, my bench, is Alessandro Bastoni because there's only one Serie A defender here that has there's only one Serie A defender here that basically knocked Juventus off of its perch, right? And Bastoni is a guy that I could see like a Carlo Ancelotti getting him at Real Madrid to fuel his future if he stays there long. I don't know, but he's one of those guys that that he can unlock the ability to essentially lead a team for years and years and years to come. Okay.
So you sell De Ligt.
So I sell De Ligt currently, and it hurts. It hurts. That video that we posted a while back, right, of him leading the chants at Ajax as what was that, 17-year-old?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know if it's
though.
I don't know if
he needs to leave Juventus.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Serie A or what it is. Yeah.
If we can end this take these three, De Ligt needs to leave for him to be really the one.
Yeah. So for me, start Upamecano, bench Bastoni, and sell De Ligt, and it hurts to do so. But again, I'll get a pretty penny. We get a pretty penny, and I don't know.
Upamecano, that's not bad for years to come. So there you go.
He's just a freak of nature, man. And
he is.
I mean, I don't think he gets talked about enough. Of course, he's prone to the mistake, but he's a wall. He's a wall. He's young. Obviously, all these guys are young. But he has properties that Bastoni doesn't have and De Ligt doesn't have, and they'll never have. They will never have the strength, the speed, the ability to. I mean, we know he's prone to becoming Franz Beckenbauer in the libero role every now and again, pushing forward. But like, he's just a really solid, fun player to watch and to build a defense around. It's just whether or not you have the complements around.
He tends to risk. That's true. That is nice. So the three players, the next three players to start bench sell. So Chiesa, Doku, and Sancho. Do you want to start here?
Sure. This is a little off the cuff because you know how both you and I have an affinity for Jeremy Doku as a person because he's just a really nice guy. And when he's on point and healthy, just very, very good. Very young, so he's gonna make his way ahead moving forward. But I'm gonna start Chiesa because Euro 2020. He's stepping up for Juventus as we saw this past week. He's a leader. I really, really just enjoy watching him play, and I wish I had more specifics, more stats to kind of support that. But I didn't do my homework well enough before this. But off the cuff, Federico Chiesa for sure. Start. Bench is Jadon Sancho. Once again, I feel like Jadon Sancho is kind of playing in a team that is not the team that Dortmund was, right? This is a team of individuals, as we've mentioned. I didn't mean to mention it this many times, but as we've mentioned previously at Manchester United. And I think even though Sancho is of the flair and of the dribbling and of the, taking risks and taking men on and opening up a whole lot of openings for others, he hasn't gotten a chance yet at United, and the system is not there for him currently. So Jadon Sancho, I bench until we fire Solskjaer and bring in somebody else. And then I'm going to sell Doku currently. I honestly do believe you check back in 6 months, we'll be saying something completely different here because we all know what Doku is completely capable of. But I gotta sell.
I gotta sell. So I agree with you. I'm gonna start agreeing with you with the start Chiesa because, in my opinion, Chiesa is a top 3 under 23 player in the world. No discussion, no cap, no nothing. Chiesa's top 3. Okay, so a legend already because he won the Euros. He's one of the catalysts of winning the Euros for Italy. So I feel it's clear that what's gonna happen at Juventus is rebuild time and rebuild around Chiesa. So I'm going to start Chiesa. So bench, I'm going to say Jeremy Doku bench. Because you said it. I feel like maybe in 5 years' time we're going to be saying Doku and Sancho. And I'm going to go bold. I think Doku might be the one that's going to be a better player. I really believe in Doku because he's got the end product. No, he's got a end product, not the one. In future, I believe he's going to improve it a lot more. But dribbling-wise, he's already near perfect. Yeah. Okay? At 19. And dribbling-wise, if you're near perfect already, you just need to improve on the other aspects. And I see him. He cost 27 million to Stade Rennes, coming from Anderlecht. We both knew that he was a baller at Anderlecht. But seeing it happen in Liga gives me even more guarantees. So I'm going to bench him. And I'm going to sell Sancho. And you said it. I'm going to sell Sancho until I see a different Sancho this season. And I'm not very hopeful. Because the assists, he's not going to have the same impact. The goals are going to go to Christian. They're going to go to Mason Greenwood. They're going to go to Brun. They're not going to go to Sancho. Because at Dortmund, it was a two-man team with Haaland and Sancho. Yes, you had Torgan Hazard, but it's not the same, okay? It's different types of responsibility. And I think Sancho has a lot of expectations for his roles, and it's not going to go too well long-term, I think, okay? I hope this changes. And for that to change, you need a new manager, okay? So I'm starting Chiesa, benching Doku, and I'm selling Jadon Sancho.
I mean, see, that's the interesting thing there is, Sancho, it was him and Haaland as leading men. right, in the show, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else is the supporting cast. And the interplay between Haaland and Sancho, I don't think has been replicated yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jude, and
It's true.
Reina has had, but none of them had the chemistry that when Sancho was on form and Haaland was on form at
Still.
Dortmund. Yeah, it was just a beautiful thing to watch. And unfortunately, you go to United, and now you've got Ronaldo, you've got Greenwood, who plays like a leading man, although he's not a leading man. You've got you've got Sancho, you've got Bruno, but you've got a lot of guys that the what is it? The headliner is getting very crowded for United, and you need to feed all those players. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think I agree with you with Sancho that I would love to see it change, but I don't yet have hope that that is going to happen.
So you want to pick the last start bench and sell?
Yeah, I'm gonna make your head spin. You ready?
Oh, damn.
I mean, we have like a couple more, but we're gonna try and do this like once a month or something. We'll figure out a cadence with which to do this with. But I gotta go with Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala, and Rayon Cherki.
You want me to start here?
Yeah, that's why I left the dramatic pause there, because I need you to start.
And that's why I'm like thinking. I got here in my notes, but I don't want to put out there Wirtz second in anything. Okay, because Wirtz right now is the #1 cam in form under 20 in the world. I'm saying that, but I'm going to put him #2. I'm going to start Jamal Musiala.
Oh.
Why am I going to start Jamal Musiala? Well, who knows Jamal Musiala? There's a reason why there was such a big deal with who he was picking, England or Germany.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big deal because this guy is a generational talent, Jamal Musiala. And he went to Bayern Munich because he's going to sharpen his attributes and be the best that there is. I believe Jamal Musiala is going to be one of the best German players long term. Like in 5 years, 6 years, he's going to be the key player, one of the icons. Wirtz and Musiala. But I think Musiala is going to be a little bit ahead, considered ahead. So I'm going to start Jamal Musiala, a future Germany and Bayern legend, which I wouldn't be surprised too if Wirtz, which is the player that I bench, would go to Bayern Munich in the future.
Oh my.
Okay, that'd be madness if Bayern would get Wirtz and Musiala in the same generation, okay? They would be dominating European football. And I am gonna sell help me out. It was Cherki.
Yeah.
Ryan Cherki. If it was a year ago, I put Ryan Cherki #1. I was so hyped up with him. Like the sauce, the skills. He is cold, okay, guys. Like if you like cold, brazy ballers, guys, watch Ryan Cherki. But he has dipped a bit, okay? And compared to Musiala and Wirtz, he's a bit. I don't consider him at the same level right now. So I'm going to sell him.
I mean, he hasn't forced his way into a Lyon team that I feel like is just screaming for a top form Brown Cherki to come in. And you know, this isn't Jamal Musiala trying to fight into a Bayern. This is a team that generally plays its, I mean, hell, their nickname is what? Legon? Right? The kids. So
but Paquetá has been like a baller too.
Hey, he has been.
Like, Paquetá has been.
But there's plenty of time to go around for this kid, and there's plenty of time ahead for him to obviously move up. But I think we're both in agreement that Cherki is getting sold here. But yeah, fundamental disagreement between currently Florian Wirtz, and Jamal Musiala. But I do understand the big difference, and it's like Florian Wirtz has taken on a leadership role for Bayer Leverkusen, right? And is setting records along the way, Bundesliga records. Funnily enough, he's beating records that Kai Havertz set before him in many ways. And I also read somewhere, and it could be false, could be, whatever, propaganda for Barcelona, but I read somewhere that he really would like to play for Barcelona in the future. That was always a dream of his as a kid. And then I got thinking, like, oh man, could you imagine a Wirtz, Pedri, Ansu Fati trio, like ushering in Gavi, and hell, you got some defensive pieces you want to keep like Ronaldo Araujo, but ultimately I could not go past Wirtz. I have to start Florian Wirtz right now. I have to bench Jamal Musiala, and I have to sell Rayon Cherki. But the funny thing is, I understand, Musiala is playing not a leading role, but he's playing just phenomenally. This supporting role, this boost of energy for Bayern, for a team that very clearly is in the running for a Champions League title this year, versus Florian Wirtz taking a team and I mean, what is it? It's like in 440 minutes, he's got 10 goal involvements already this year, like 6 goals, 4 assists or something. It's unbelievable what he's doing there, but one is very different than the other. Okay, so it will be interesting when Wirtz makes that next move, right? Which will likely happen. How he takes to it, right? How he is able to embrace it, whereas Musiala has broken through at one of the hardest places to do so, and that's Bayern Munich.
Well, quick question: you think like he'll stay at Leverkusen next season?
No, I don't.
Okay, because
no.
I mean, did see a lot of news. It's a 2 years project, blah blah blah. But I agree with you. I don't think they'll have the. I don't think that the Sharks will want him right now.
I agree. I agree.
The Sharks will want him right now. So
I got a US one just really quickly. I have to throw it to you, and I wanted to surprise you before we move on. I don't need any rationale. I don't need anything. But I just want to know where your head lies with with my national team. Okay, Gio Reyna, Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams. You can start 2, bench 1, sell 1.
Do you want? Oh, I can start 2.
Yeah.
Well, I have to start Pulisic because Pulisic is the catalyst to the youth. And to everything that's happening, in my opinion, in the U.S. But in terms of importance to the national team, I'm going to put Weston McKennie. I might get a lot of harsh comments, but I honestly think he's the engine of the national team when I see them play. And like Reyna long term is going to be a stud, but I'm picking those 2, like Pulisic and McKennie. Tyler Adams, I know you're a big fan, but I liked what I saw at Juventus with McKennie. So,
yeah. Wow, all right,
there you go.
Okay, that's good. Well, next time you can test my knowledge on Portuguese players. I like that. I mean, Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie, in my opinion, what I'm trying to get here is for the future of this team, especially if we actually could ever one day be a World Cup contender, which is far off, right? Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie are going to play a very large role in that, right? And I feel like more so than a Pulisic and more so than a Reyna, because I feel like there will be others that come in and do that role. But cool.
Let's see.
End that segment, man. End it for us.
So if you guys enjoy the start, bench, sell segment, please put in the comments down below and like the video and go subscribe to the FC Wonderkid channel.
And even better,
so we know you really enjoy the start, bench, sell.
Yeah, even better, give us 3 that you think we should do, and we'll pick yours and maybe even name drop you in the next podcast.
Exactly. If you give us 3 players that we feel are worthy for a start, bench, sell, maybe next podcast we'll do the start, bench, sell, and we'll say who comment that. So that's a good idea right there. Yeah. So going to the next topic, it's the Wonderkids highlights. It's a consistent topic, and just so the listeners know what's happening with the youth around the globe. So I'd like to start with a very different take, okay? And you know where I'm going. And I am going to praise Arsenal, okay? Because I am seeing 2 players that, in my opinion, yes, Tomiyasu, okay, was D-Buy, okay? He is the secret sauce in that Arsenal defense. The right back slot, like now we're really exposing Hector Bellerin, guys. Okay, we're seeing how bad Hector Bellerin has been in the past few years defensively, because Tomiyasu likes to have the role in the middle, and he is very comfortable for the attack part of a Tierney. Just go crazy on that left, and even Asaka. Just the overall defense looks different with Tomiyasu there.
I agree.
Okay, and I want to mention Ramsdale. Okay, I don't think he's a better keeper in between the posts than Leno, but overall, for Arsenal, I feel Ramsdale is a better keeper. Okay, passing abilities better than Leno, and vocal. Okay, he's very vocal on the pitch, and the truth is a lot of the problem that Arsenal had defensive wise was organization, and having a vocal keeper saying where to go is very important for this case. So Tomiyasu and Ramsdale, I gotta praise. And I just want to mention to end this, it's actually very bad to rely on the youth to be the catalysts of change at the club, okay? Emil Smith Rowe and Saka are leading Arsenal's future and present, okay, right now at such a young age, okay? And that speaks level.
Yeah, I think Saka was probably the only positive, and Ramsdale was the only positive you could take out of that Brighton game the other day. But I mean, stats sometimes don't lie. And Tomiyasu and Gabriel. But stats sometimes don't lie. And let's see, they've conceded 1 goal, I think, in 5 Ramsdale appearances. So, it's not him maybe making saves, but maybe they're blanking attacks that they should be blanking, right? And now they just need to get the other stuff moving along. So, hey, there are positive signs for Gunners ahead. And when you hit the bottom, sometimes it's pretty hard to go lower, right? So I think Ramsdale it's a good shout. That's a good one. Well, I'll stay in the Premier League, and I'm going to throw out there Trevoh Chalobah. Yeah. All I got to say is watch out Romelu Lukaku. Okay. Only Lukaku has more Premier League goals than Chalobah does this season. And
he's a center back, guys.
I'm obviously kidding. But it's important to remember, like, that back post goal that he scored versus Southampton, where he just kind of cleaned it up, right? It was the product, I believe, of a corner he won. Could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
No, it was.
From slaloming through Southampton's defense and winning that corner, and that led eventually to his goal. And I just like it because he's improving on the fly. And Tuchel, obviously, he's making the fact that this whole Jules Koundé thing broke down, the transfer and all that stuff. I mean, he's making everybody say, well, listen, look at me. I can do this. I can do this job. And he's just been a lot of fun to watch for them, obviously, with it. And we've seen this through and through with Chelsea Academy players. There's just a fire and excitement for the club that you can feel. You can feel when they take the pitch, and Chalobah is certainly one of those. So we'll see if it continues, but it's looking good.
I agree with you. A lot Chelsea Academy, a lot of players are developing there, and it's interesting that it just shows that surround yourself with better players. You're going to be a better player. Like, they're bringing in the world's best youngsters, Chelsea, and they're improving the players that were there. Okay, Mason Mount was there, Chalobah was there, Loftus-Cheek was there, Hudson-Odoi was there, and competing against these top players coming from other academies, improve them. This is an underrated fact, okay, in my opinion, that Chelsea develops the academy by upping the level in it, okay? So, not my Wonderkid highlight. It's the way I started the pod. I was mentioning, come on, Felix, okay? He may not score an assist, but who watched that clean butchering that Felix did at Barcelona, okay? Starting every attack that led to goal, okay? And there was even a clear assist at Suarez. I don't know how you missed that, but João Felix yesterday was the best player, in my opinion, on the pitch against Barcelona, okay? He was so good. Magical. And I'm going to go bold here. He's going to happen. He is going to be in form. That match against Barcelona gave me a lot of answers that I needed. Last podcast, I was begging for him to show up, and that's the sign, okay? Felix gave me the sign I wanted. João Felix, watch out. He balled yesterday.
Yeah, and that's not hyperbole. He was very, very good. And it just, you and I talked about this a little bit before, but watching that Atletico game, Luis Suarez and Antoine Griezmann had like this subtle smile on their face the whole game. Just, I don't know if it was tough. It was tough to watch, right? Because Barcelona does not look like the Barcelona of old. We covered this last week, and it's continued with no signs of stopping anytime soon. But this is
True.
It feels like the crumbling of an empire. Because they lost 3-0 midweek, and then they lost 2-0 over the weekend. So not only that, you have Barcelona built on
no goals.
Yeah, the efficiencies of an offense, and not getting it done. Which brings me to my Wonderkid. I like Gavi. I think he's one of the best in Barcelona's academy, right? Coming up. I think it's too early to call him up. I mean, come on. Calling him up to Spain, I don't care if it was just, whatever. Yeah.
Pure bias.
But it feels a little premature. It sounds like you obviously agree with me. He hasn't had the same impact as a Pedri or an Ansu Fati when he's come in. Nor should you expect a 17-year-old to have that every time he comes in. It's an honor for him to get that. But what's wrong with Carlos Soler, right? What's wrong with Brahim Diaz doing really phenomenal things for AC Milan?
Oh,
and leading the way.
Brahim Diaz didn't get called up.
I don't think he did. Your response makes me feel like I have to check, though. I didn't see him, but I might have missed him.
That is so bad that they're calling up Gavi ahead of Brahim Diaz.
Yeah.
That just shows, you're going to perform in Serie A, no one sees you?
Yeah. It's tough.
I feel the same with Tomori, too. To be honest. I just hope that doesn't happen to Tammy Abraham. Okay, performing in a Serie A and then not getting called up for England. But that was bad, Brahim Diaz.
Yeah, I don't see him. He's not on here.
That was a well spot mistake there, Breton.
But nothing against Gavi, because this has kids.
No. Yeah.
But he's done nothing to warrant a call.
Come on, if he was in the under 21 team at 17, that's worthy of being said.
Sure.
Okay. So
Yeah.
No. You're right here. I think you're spot on, Breton.
Yeah.
I think you're spot on, Breton.
Wow.
So
gotta bottle that up. Alex, you're spot on. I like it.
So I'm gonna go here with my last mention of the Wonderkids highlights, and that I'm gonna mention 2 Portuguese players that this weekend were very, very nice, and they're 2 players that play in the same position, and that's Daniel Bragança at Sporting and Vitinha at Porto. Okay, both love to have the ball at their feet and love to dictate the tempo. Very secure. Okay, that's what I love about Vitinha and Daniel Bragança. Both of them, ball keeping capability with the ball at their feet, you can't take it off. Okay, so it's good to see that now the Portuguese teams are betting more in their youth. Okay, it's a bit a consequence of Corona because truth is not every team is like the Premier League. Okay, not every team can afford to just get 80 million in a season. Benfica, they afforded last season, but look, they didn't spend too much this season. So it's just overall really nice to see that, and seeing the bet to invest in Portuguese youth players. It's very good, and I do see Fabio Vieira and Vitinha and João Mário going very, very far at Porto. So Olival, come on, trust them. So there you go.
Yeah, and that's kind of been a recurring thing you said about Porto, and that they haven't trusted their youth products as of late, and that's a good development that Vitinha and it's getting.
And I forgot to mention Mateus Nunes. Thank God. Ainda bem escolheste Portugal. That's good that you picked Portugal, okay? He's lived here since he's 12, and he's even got a mixed Portuguese accent with Brazilian. So it's very nice to see that he really wants to represent Portugal, and I'm very, very hyped with him. I like him. One of the best ball conducting midfielders out there. Youngsters. Okay.
Yeah.
He's very good.
And just to that Vitinha thing, I really don't understand. Why didn't Wolves execute their option to buy him?
I think he's not like a player that Lage would think that would go with his style of play. I'd say that'd be the simple way. I think Lage would rather have a Palhinha there instead of a Vitinha.
And they've tried to get him too, right? They tried to get Palhinha.
Yeah, but the truth is Palhinha is a Man United level player, not a Wolves level player. Okay, I'm saying it. João Palhinha would go to that Man United team and improve it.
Yeah, but Vitinha does seem like one of those players that if you you drop him into an 11
Mm-hmm.
in the Premier League, he's going to step up his game like immediately.
The right 11 though.
The right 11. Okay, fair enough.
He's a bit more offensive than Oliver Skip. Okay,
Mhm.
defensive wise, I'd put Oliver Skip ahead, but offensively, Vitinha. I'd compare like that. So, yeah,
Okay.
he's very nice player. Very nice
Good.
player.
Good. Well, I think I have two quick shout outs, and I won't spend
Mhm.
a long time because I think we're almost coming up to an hour here. But
Exactly.
I think we both can clap to Noah Lang getting his first
Mhm.
call up. I mean, come on.
Deserved.
Like, what are you waiting for? Maybe you watched his being the best player on the field against, what was it, Manchester City? Doing some the normal things he does in, yes, I get it, it's the Pro League, and it's not the Premier League, but he's been dominant, right? And he's a game changer, and you can't rely on Memphis to do that for the Oranje every time. To have a Noah Lang in there, or even to bring him in off the bench, seems completely normal. And the fact that they're also facing Latvia and Gibraltar, nothing against our Latvian followers, or if we got any down in the rock. But
There you go.
if he sees the field, I expect goals, assists, more assists for Noah Lang. But it's really nice to see him finally get his chance to shine. And it's just one of those things where you just wonder, like, what didn't Ajax see in him? And I know that there's a lot more complexity to that because they generate so many phenomenal products. But I'm so happy to see a guy he commands attention when he's on the pitch. So I'm excited to see him in the orange for the first time. Not for the first time because he's done youth league. But my last mention here is I got to go with an American. There's two Americans. Gianluca Busio scored his first for Venezia this week, and he's one of those kids that he has not looked out of place since going to Serie A and playing for one of the more challenging teams. They're going to fight relegation, but he is already essentially running their attack. So that's encouraging. And then the other one, who is a complete and utter, in my opinion, unmitigated disaster that he was not called up to the national team for these 3 games in 7 days that we're going to be playing coming up. And that's Joe Scally, who has 18-year-old been playing right and left back for Gladbach and scored his first Bundesliga goal and has more goals, more starts in a big top 5 league than the other person that Greg Berhalter called up, who is a great player too, Shaq Moore. But ultimately, Joe Scally should have been called up. I don't care about the familiarity of the team. I don't care about any of that crap. When an 18-year-old has done what he's done, and there's no firm substitutions or firm people ahead of him, aside from maybe a Serginho Dest, he needs to be called up. Because
they beat Dortmund, didn't they?
I think they might have.
Yeah,
he went toe-to-toe with Leroy Sané and Bayern in the cup. I mean, he's obviously had his missteps, but he has shown remarkable recovery and remarkable tackling ability, the occasional foray forward, but just somebody to watch. And that right back position seems like it could be locked down for years to come if they all develop correctly. But you've got Dest, you've got Brian Reynolds at Roma, who hasn't played much because Mourinho basically told him he's not that good yet, and Joe Scally at Gladbach. So we'll see what happens, but I have to shout him out.
Yeah, then he should have been called up. I agree with you there. So if there's any Wonderkid highlight you think that should have been mentioned, go comment down below, and we'll have a good chat about that. Last topic, it's the European competitions. We're going to have just a roundup because there's a lot of things that deserve to be mentioned. Yep. And I'm just going to start, instead of going with the underdogs for starters, I'm going to start with the youngest, that did history, this week. Okay. And we had Jude Bellingham becoming the youngest player in Champions League history to have 10 games played, So that is a huge, huge achievement, Yeah. 18 years old and 91 days I got here in my notes. So that is a third, of the year past. So a lot to come. And the second fact is Karim Adeyemi became the youngest scorer to score a brace. Karim Adeyemi became the youngest player to score a brace in the Champions League, okay? Yeah. And this is a player that I said a couple of podcasts previously that I could see him becoming 100 million transfer player in the future, okay? You did. So I'm expecting big things for him, so I just wanted to mention that.
And the funny thing with Adeyemi, what was it, like 4 penalties won in 2 games? Like that's got to be some sort of a record. He's definitely the youngest to do that, but the fact that he's won 4 penalties, I don't know if he's not a phenomenal flopper, right? He actually does draw contact because he's so flighty with the ball. He has less of a low center of gravity than Leo Messi's tree trunks of thighs, but Adeyemi might go down easier because of that. So it's really, really impressive what he's doing, and obviously the restacking of the deck that Red Bull Salzburg seems to do every year is working wonders, and Adeyemi is a big part of that. Well, I'm going to actually not go with a Wonderkid here. I'm actually going to say that ridiculous Jekyll and Hyde between PSG losing today versus Stade Rennais, but beating Manchester City midweek. I don't understand it, but I do have to give props where props are due. And it's not Messi. It's not Neymar. It's not Hakimi. It's not Donnarumma. Who is the best player for PSG over the last several games? 3. Idrissa Gueye. 32-year-old midfielder that used to, I believe, play for Everton, right? He was the best player on the field for all of them, okay?
True.
Maybe not all 3, but definitely the last 2 games previous to Manchester City. He was definitely, in my opinion, the best player on the pitch versus Manchester City. And I know he's 32, but I got to give him some love for that because he's probably going to play a big role for kind of acting as the glue there.
I agree. Very underrated player. And in the midfield, the truth is, Wijnaldum and Verratti do exist, and Idrissa Gueye is playing. And against Man City, that's a big game that just shows the importance that he has.
It's true.
So that's a very nice shout out. But for me, the man of the match in that match was Donnarumma. Okay, Donnarumma stepped up massively against Man City. And I did see a lot of people saying, "Oh, Messi scored. He's now back in form." No. Okay, it's not because he scored against Man City that he's not in an uncomfortable situation anymore. Okay, he still is. Okay, Messi is having a very tough time at PSG, guys. That is a fact. Okay, so I'm gonna mention here, Sheriff, man. Come on, 6 points, Sheriff.
There it is.
Come on, Moldavia. Okay, that's how we say it here in Portugal. Sheriff is going bold and becoming the real sheriff in town. Like, I had to say that fun. I had to mention this. Like, it's history before our eyes, and I love to see it. Like a small country, like, love it.
I think the best part of that is one of the goal scorers against Real Madrid. I've heard he's also a part-time phys ed teacher, physical education teacher, so gym teacher in Moldova. Hey, he's got class tomorrow. He had to go to sleep early. He couldn't celebrate that real. No, I'm just kidding. But also, I think a big shout out there. I don't know how to say this last name, so anyone that's Greek, please do. I don't know. Give me a little bit of slack here. But the 28-year-old goalkeeper, Georgios Athanasiadis.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean he stood on his head. He stood on his head for that game. I mean, he was absolutely everywhere and doing what he needed to do to get 3 points. Let's say it again, against Real Madrid. So absolutely unbelievable that after 2 games, and come on, those of you in the comments section, remember when you were like just saying Sheriff is going to get destroyed.
Exactly.
I'm there with you. We all were thinking it in our heads, but then you go, well, that means nobody has been scouting them. Nobody really knows them. And there's always the possibility that they come in and they surprise everybody. And who knows? Maybe their right or left back, Cristiano, the 22-year-old Brazilian that plays for them, maybe he winds up being the best Cristiano in the tournament. That's just rude.
I never see that happening, but I like that one. That was a funny one there.
Who knows? You never know.
Okay, I'm gonna mention here my Champions League talk. The team that I think might win it. Okay, and I having a feeling here that Liverpool
Yeah.
might win the Champions League this
Ooh.
season, and I'm gonna say why. I'm gonna say why. The big reason I think Liverpool might win it is because I think Van Dijk is a Ballon d'Or player in discussion, and Mo Salah. Mo Salah has woke up this season. Guys,
That's true.
Okay, and I think he's woke up because there's a contract extension coming. Okay,
Fair
and he
enough.
wants to be the most well-paid player at Liverpool. When Trent got an extension, Alisson got an extension, and Van Dijk got an extension. So
Yeah.
Liverpool, you got to open up your pockets because Salah. Okay, it's gonna happen. I think Salah. But if just posing this question to you, Bretson.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if Salah wins the Champions League, he wins the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
I think that if Salah gets a hat trick or he scores or he's the catalyst of winning, they'll win. He wins the Ballon d'Or. What do you think?
I think I have to agree with that. I mean, he's also got 8 goals in 8 games already, and if he can continue that, things should go pretty well for him. But then again, Lewandowski has 13 goals and 9. Haaland has 11 goals and 8. Karim Benzema has 9 goals and 9 plus 7 assists. So it's crowded at the top early in the season. But if Salah keeps pace and, like you said, they potentially win the Champions League.
I'm looking at it. That game against Milan, a comeback. The game against Porto, clear win. Curtis Jones looks like a totally different player this season.
Yeah.
A player that deserves to start. I think it can happen. Okay,
Yeah.
I think it can happen.
Well, I wouldn't mind it because what a story that would be. And he's just been one of the most consistent players. And we have to remember how big it was that Liverpool won the title a couple years ago. They didn't do it. I know they spent money, but they didn't do it spending billions and billions. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. But Klopp came in and built a team culture, and Salah is the largest, probably him and Van Dijk are two of the largest reasons why that happened and why they continue to be a dangerous team, even with so many injuries and so much craziness last year. So I like that shout. I like that shout a lot, Salah. We don't give him enough love.
There's another big shout in the Champions League, and that is, what did Benfica do? Benfica proved us right, okay? Benfica proved us right. Jorge Jesus, master tactics with 2 strikers against Barcelona. Darwin Núñez has 3 braces in 4 matches.
Yeah.
Okay, that is insane. That is, I've told you, triple the price. Darwin Núñez, 25 million, 80 million. So
you might be right, but I think the real stars of that game, and you're probably going to be able to add a little more to this, but Julian Weigl and João Maria in that midfield for them, I think completely bossed Barcelona and no chance with those 2 guys running the show.
Like, João Mario is the secret sauce for that Benfica team. Okay. He's like the man who makes every pass make sense. Yeah. Like, if the ball needs to go through João Mario. If it doesn't, the ball doesn't make sense. Like, this is, I'll be honest, Jorge Jesus has this thing while he can get a player that with a normal manager is average, with Jorge Jesus is I'd say 5 times better. Adrian Silva looked beast with Jorge Jesus. Slimani looked different. Gelson Martins looked different. William, there's a lot of them, okay, that look different with Jorge Jesus. So it's just proves that now João Mario is the best player in Portugal right now playing, okay? Wow. Better than any player in Liga BWin. Right now at Benfica, João Mario is the best player.
Wow.
Okay? That speaks levels.
Benfica, they're like 6 wins, no losses, right?
Yes.
They're killing it in the league. So that should be a really good race. If Sporting's going to do their best. And I know Porto's not too far behind, but definitely those 2 seem like they're primed for a massive fight for the I that's a good shout. And man, that was shocking. I got one more because we talk about Jeremy Doku a lot, and obviously the youthful renaissance that Stade Rennais continues to go through, whether it's giving their prospects a chance or bringing in prospects. 27 million for Doku is them paying quite a bit because they expect maybe to sell him later for 90 to 100. But I think one of their biggest ones that in Doku's absence as a real terror on the wing, Kamaldeen Sulemana has really filled the gap. He scored his first European goal. I know it's the Conference League, but he scored his first European goal midweek. And then he came out and he assisted against and was probably the best player on the field against PSG in their win, their 2-0 win. And this is as a 19-year-old kid, product of FC Nord. I'm going to screw it up. FC Nordjylland. Yeah. Which we love. We love that project that they're doing there. A lot of players come in from Ghana, get what they need in terms of support to essentially make the best out of their footballing careers. And we've already seen it with Kudus Mohamed and Kamaldeen Sulemana and numerous others. But Sulemana, I did not expect Kamaldeen to come in and be able to kind of take a leadership role in Stade. Great to see.
Such a big impact and a wonderful way to end it. So episode 24, podcast 24. Here with you guys listen to it.
6 months. 6 months.